Victoria's opposition is being accused of a backflip on treaty as one Liberal MP calls for more detail on the potential agreement with First Nations people. Our Victorian political reporter Simon Love is live for us in Melbourne. And Simon, the state government, I see, is putting a bit of pressure on the Liberal leader over this.
They certainly are, Ash, and it comes after John Pesutto told Sky News in an exclusive interview on Friday that there are internal discussions underway within the Victorian opposition about its stance towards the matter of treaty. Last year, its Indigenous Affairs spokesperson, Peter Walsh, told the Parliament that it would be a myth that First Nations community couldn't work with both sides of politics on treaty. Well, in light of the October 14 referendum, the Coalition is considering its position. And John Pesutto this morning is calling on Jacinta Allan to essentially come out with more detail on what could be in that treaty. But the Deputy Premier Ben Carroll was strongest on this morning, accusing the opposition of changing its stance.
It's essentially a backflip by John Pesutto because there has been bipartisanship to date, and it's very concerning that any sort of politics should come into the treaty process.
And Simon, the state's government's public drunkenness reforms, they've triggered some stranger danger fears.
Yes, it has. There's been interesting developments here at Parliament. Just in the last 10 minutes or so, Brad Batten's tried to move a procedural motion to debate a bill that would repeal or at least delay the state's public drunkenness reforms. Brad Batten earlier was taking part in a so-called stunt outside the front of Parliament, where essentially residents from Collingwood, where a sobering up centre was to be opened by November the 7th, although it won't be, they actually got a white van and put the logo of CoHealth that would be implementing a public health response to drunkenness instead of police on the side, essentially claiming that anyone could be picked up by these types of vans as opposed to health professionals being behind the wheel and operating them. Brad Batten defending his stunt this morning.
One of the concerns with the van is for years and years we've taught people about stranger danger, and now we're saying when you're drunk it's okay to get in a white van. If they come to us with an amendment to move the date, and it's to move the date to delay this legislation coming in, we will work with them to support that, yes.
Of course, this will come in place on Melbourne Cup Day, the day that stops the nation, and the day that will really be one that police will be dealing with this issue in a new way. Awkwardly, the minister responsible for racing is also the police minister, and he insists that the Chief Commissioner thinks everything is in place for that implementation.
Not breaking the law and you refuse a health response, then it's not for police to be able to arrest you and throw you in a jail cell. That's the law that has changed here. It's not an offence to be drunk.
The government's opposing the opposition's efforts to delay this legislation, so it appears we'll wait and see what happens on Cup Day with these new laws coming into effect. Ash?
We'll all be watching. Simon, thank you.